Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's Richie from Boston. It's the 26th. It's December. It's 2018. And I started off my day watching a video that a subscriber sent me. And it was to Russian Vids' YouTube channel. And for some reason, I wasn't subscribed again because that happens. And it's strange because I found myself watching this video. Now, if you watch this video all the way till the end, you'll understand the significance to this. But this is what he was talking about.
This is a topic I covered on my previous channel last year with the connection with the Falkland Wars and Deception Island just north of Antarctica. You get a little bit of a close-up. And this is Deception Island here. Let's look at the relative closeness, if I can find it here. The tip of South America, and let's look at the Falklands.
Okay, I don't really have a way of getting hold of Russian Vids to ask permission to use his videos, so I won't. But this is crazy. This is crazy. This is how my life works. This is literally how God puts things in my lap to make videos to put out for you. This is going to be a long video. We're going to talk about black goo. We're going to talk about Egypt, Osiris, and it all comes back to the Falkland Islands, oddly enough. This was a complete coincidence. But back in the day, there was a huge war. Margaret Thatcher had a war. It was the Falkland Islands. And I was a kid when this happened. I remember this. But it turns out that there's a really crazy story going on behind the Falkland Islands. And I'm going to show it to you. People are claiming that this entire war in the Falklands was over sentient black goo. Yeah. It turns out that after World War II, everything changed. Absolutely everything. Before World War II, America was a pretty great place, but after World War II, it changed. It started changing, and a lot of that had to do with the information that people found that the Nazis were looking into. Things like the Vril, things like the Thule Society, Black Magic, Jack Parsons, Operation Paperclip, NASA, so forth, so on, and blah, blah, blah. Mind control, MK Ultra, all this stuff. Fluoride in the water. It all found its way back to our shores. Well, the strange thing about the video that Russian Vids put up, and he was talking about the Falkland Islands this morning. Now, I watched this video before I watched this other video by Brian Forrester that prompted this entire video right now. It turns out in the Falklands there's a place called Thule Island. And Thule Island is sharing the same name as the Thule Society, first of all. Second of all, it's in the Falklands. And third of all, it's where they're telling us that sentient black goo comes from. So that's kind of crazy because all these things just keep tying together today. So I'm putting this video out more along the lines to get you to think and maybe put some input in, but check this out. I put this video up right here, and this is Harold Vella. And it was talking about chemtrails, black goo, and it's an entire presentation put by Harold Vella. I put this up in May 4th, 2016. So I've known about this, but I didn't really chase the black goo thing too very much. But black goo is a very, very real thing. For instance, just this week, Science Alert put out this is in pretty much every science magazine, but this was on December 6th of 2018. They're saying a strange dark fluid, black goo, could explain the missing 95% of the universe. So I went to YouTube and I typed in black goo, and the first thing that pops up is KJ Osborne, the scariest movie ever. And he just put this video up 2 days ago saying the universe is 95% mysterious black goo. So KJ's on it. Now I'm going to leave links to everything you're seeing in the description, to Russian Vids, to KJ Osborne, scariest movie ever. But it seems like this has started bubbling to the surface, no pun intended. But check this out, because I'm going to show you some crazy shit. This is Osiris, okay? Osiris. Osiris is the Egyptian lord of the underworld and judge of the dead. Brother, husband to Isis, and one of the most important gods of ancient Egypt. Now, if you don't know who Osiris is, I guarantee you know who his son is, because his son is everywhere. You see what I mean? This is the Eye of Horus. Not only is this on the back of the American dollar bill, not only does the American dollar bill, is it the only piece of currency that has not changed. They leave this on here for a reason. Inuit coeptis, novus order seclorum. What does that mean?
He favors our undertakings.
Yes, I do. And this?
The order of the ages.
Novus Ordo. Yeah. You know, the best place to keep a secret is right in front of someone.
Now, this is a video that ODD TV did at the beginning of this year, and it was on this same vein. ODD's done a lot of videos on Black Goo, as has Nicholson 1968, and again, links will be in the description. But they put this in front of your face every single day. It's the only thing that doesn't change, because it's a spell. It's a spell, and if for the most part, most of the people that don't look into this, that don't understand what this means, they're helping propagate the spell. They're helping make the spell bigger and larger. You see what I'm saying? The strange thing about the Eye of Horus is it was everywhere in Egypt. And it's a strange thing because I'm going to show you something that shows how the Eye of Horus is inside of you. This is hieroglyphics, ancient hieroglyphics right here. This is the Eye of Horus. This is the Eye of Horus. You see what I'm saying? This is the pineal gland that every one of us have. This is a crosscut. So they cut the brain directly in half. And if you look, you can see that the Eye of Horus is right there inside of you. So everything that we think is much bigger and deeper. These guys know what's going on, and it all spawns or comes from Egypt. Because why in the world would there be a pyramid on the back of an American dollar bill? We don't have any pyramids organically in the United States. We have some man-made examples, like this one in Memphis, Tennessee, this one in Vegas. You've probably seen pictures of this. These guys are infatuated with Egypt. And when I say these guys, I'm talking about the global cabal that's taken over all the governments of the world, basically. There is no communism. There is no America. There is no black against white. This is all a made-up construct from the people that run things. These guys. At any rate, that's Horus. Back to Osiris. From what they tell us, Osiris was an Egyptian lord of the underworld and judge of the dead, and he was married to his sister, Isis. They had Horus. So, according to them, this was a god of the underworld. So it's just a myth, correct? Well, it was until they discovered his tomb in Egypt. And it's a really, really big tomb. So somebody went through an awful lot of time and energy to make this magnificent structure that we can't replicate today for something that wasn't real. Or was it? They've shown us in their movies, they've shown us Black Goo. They've shown us the architects. The architects were giants. They've shown it in Prometheus, where Black Goo was what spawned absolutely everything. Remember? He drinks the little vial, he completely disintegrates, falls into the water, and then they show us branch chain amino acids. Breaking and making and turning everything into everything. This is the proverbial Big Bang, and it all started with Black Goo. So why am I talking about this now? What made me, was it Russian vids? Was it scariest movie ever? Actually, it's a guy that lives in another country who's on YouTube. His name's Brian Forrester, and he's an explorer. And he put a video up this afternoon, a live stream or something to that effect, and I was watching it, and I had to watch it about 15 times. And then I contacted him and asked him if I could use his footage, and he said, absolutely. So here it is.
And then here we are on the Giza Plateau, and this is the phenomenal Osirus shaft, which has only been open since, I believe, 2016. It had never been open to the public before. It consists of 3 levels. That's looking down into level number 1 underground. You can see that it's carved out of the limestone bedrock. And this is in level 1, and now looking down into level 2. Level 1 is about 30 feet underground. Level 2 is another 100 feet underground.
So this is the tomb of a mythical god, the judge of the dead, the lord of the underworld. But they went through all this. It's 100 feet underground, and that's just one of the levels. Look at the size, the scale, the scope of this. And the other crazy thing is, much like the depository of knowledge that's no doubt located under the foot of the Sphinx, links will be in the description, we're not allowed to look at most things here. But for whatever reason, they decided to open up the tomb of a mythical lord of the underworld and judge of the dead to the public. So the public is now allowed to move around in here freely.
And here we are in level 2. Again, you can see this quite large chamber with niches carved into the bedrock itself. And there are 2 large stone boxes here, not as big as at the Serapeum, but this one's very strange. You see that black kind of oozy goo material? I don't know exactly what it is. It looks organic, and when I return in April of 2019, I'm going to take samples of it and have it analyzed. That black kind of oozy goo material.
Recently open to the public, and Brian has been all over, under, and around Pumapunku, Egypt, every place that we've seen where they tell us history began. And for whatever reason, he's now discovered in the tomb of Osirus a black goo that he's never seen before. So do you see why I'm making this video now? These guys have shown us in all their videos, they've shown us that everything started in Egypt, everything started with giants, everything started with black goo. And then suddenly, real life takes the same turn as the movies, and we're seeing it happening again. Do you follow what I'm saying? Does this make sense to you now? Suddenly, the tomb of Osirus, a mythical god that actually has an enormous burial cavern that's absolutely incredible, and is now has a mysterious organic black goo inside it that Brian's never seen before. Now, Brian knows that I'm making this video, and he doesn't know what the topic is, I'm sure, but this is just my point of view. I find it very strange with the way that things are ramping up all around the world right now, that out of all places in the world that anybody could ever find mysterious black goo, it would be in the tomb of Osirus. Do you see what I'm saying? Does it make sense?
As big as at the Serapeum, but this one's very strange. You see that black kind of oozy goo material? I don't know exactly what it is. It looks organic, and when I return in April of 2019, I'm going to take samples of it and have it analyzed. We find this strange goo-like sticky liquid on the outside, and also much more on the inside, and as well on the roof. It's as if the lid blew off sideways and whatever was inside was turned into this gooey mass. Possibly the inhabitant is, or that's the remains of the original inhabitant. And that is looking down into level 3, which is a further 60 feet underground. So in total, the shaft system of the Osirus shaft goes down about 200 feet. And here we have my brother Yusuf Awiyan, He's standing on top of a box estimated at 60 to 100 tons with its lid on, and the water inside there is almost crystal clear, very strange.
So look at the size, scope, and scale of this. This was all for a make-believe God. I believe this was very, very real. I believe when they discovered this that something escaped, because it seems like things have been ramping up exponentially. You can hear Brian. Brian has seen these things. Brian's handled elongated skulls. He's actually seen them and discovered them for himself. He's a much more analytical person than myself, but I don't care. I'm just a dude with a laptop that's seeing things as I'm seeing them. I find it very strange that out of the blue, out of the absolute blue, I end up watching a Russian vids video that I didn't even know was up anymore, and he's talking about the Falkland Islands and Thule. And then I watched Brian Forrester's, and those two, to me, made a huge connection because something incredibly strange is going on everywhere. And black goo's been discovered in other places as well, like on the outside of the Washington obelisk. Do you remember that? The links will be in the description. It's just very, very, very unusual to me because ancient mythology, black goo, and Prometheus all play together. Well, that's great for a movie. This is real life. And he found it here as well. That sarcophagus with its top blown off, this one, we're talking tons. These things weigh in the 10s to 20 ton, it's up to 100 tons. That cover right there couldn't be moved. Look at that. Black goo on the inside, black goo on the outside, as though something escaped. And even the analytical, very professional Mr. Forrester said himself, it looks like the inhabitant was turned into black goo, or transformed, or released. At any rate, all the links will be in the description. I hope this made some sort of sense. Thank you to KJ Osborne. Thank you to Russian Vids. And most of all, thank you to Brian Forrester. Links to everything and everyone will be in the description. Leave your comments below. I'm not putting anything out there except what I'm seeing. If anybody can tie the dots together, have at it. Richie from Boston. Like, share, and subscribe. Or don't. I'm out.